Well done. And then from here, we're just going to start warming up our body. So we're going to start at the top and just take our head over to one side, drawing one ear towards the shoulder, and then slowly starting to roll the head, dropping the chin to the chest, and then up to the other side. So the other ear is now tilted over towards the shoulder, and then back in the other direction, rolling the chin to the chest and up to the other side. Let's do that a few more times, rolling nice and slowly and gently, bringing the ear up and over to the side each time. And remembering to breathe through the exercises as we warm up. So we're not holding our breath at any point. We're using that breath to help us through the movements. So let's do one more of these on each side. Rolling down and up. And then last of all, to the other side. And then just leaving the head there, we're gently going to raise the arm that's on the same side that the head is tilted to, and bring that hand gently on top of the head, applying a very gentle bit of pressure, just increasing that stretch down the neck and into the shoulder. We're not pulling hard, we're just allowing the weight of the hand on the head to increase that stretch a little bit. Breathing through the stretch, and with each out breath, see if you can focus on relaxing the shoulder down away from the ear. Very good. And then swapping sides, bringing the head over to the other side, lifting the other arm up, placing the hand on the head, and just applying a gentle bit of pressure. And breathing in and out. Very good. Lovely. And then releasing and bringing the head back to the middle. And then we're going to move to the shoulders. So we're going to draw big circles with the shoulders, drawing them up, back, down and forwards. Keeping those circles nice and big, trying to use the full range of the movement through the shoulders here. You might feel a few cracks and clicks. Quite often our shoulders are a place that holds a lot of tension, and as we start moving, you might feel some of that releasing. You might feel some of those knots in the shoulders clicking and cracking. Try and work through that sensation as long as it's not painful, and see if you can loosen up that joint and use these big circles to try and release a little bit of tension in the shoulders. And then next time we come to the top, we're going to change direction. So we're going to go forwards, down, back and up. Nice big circles in the other direction, keeping the arms and the hands relaxed. So we're just focusing on moving the shoulders, and the arms and the hands are just going to follow along with the shoulders. Remembering to breathe, but not holding the breath. Last time, and then bring the shoulders back down to the bottom. And then we're going to squeeze the shoulders all the way up to the ears and hold it here. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then as I count to 3, we're going to take a big breath in. 1, 2, 3, and then breathe out and drop the shoulders down. Releasing all of that tension and stress that we hold in the shoulders. And then trying to remember to keep those shoulders down away from the ears as we move through the rest of the warm-up. We're going to move now down to the torso. So starting by placing our hands on our thighs, we're going to move into cat and cow stretch. So starting sitting up nice and tall, and then we're going to move into cow stretch first. So I want you to open your chest, push your chest forward through your arms and look up towards the sky, arching your back in cow stretch. And we're just going to take a couple of breaths here. If I just turn to the side so you can see that my back is arching, my chest is open, and I'm looking up to the sky. A few nice big deep breaths here. And then we're going to change direction, so drawing the belly button in towards the spine, and then rounding the back, bringing the shoulders forwards, tucking the head down, looking down into our lats and coming into cat stretch. So if I turn again to the side, you can see rounding in the back, drawing the belly button in towards the spine and looking down into the lap. Very good. A couple of deep breaths here, and then let's move through those poses a little bit quicker. So as we come through the middle, open the chest and look up into cow pose. We're going to take a big deep breath in. And then tuck the belly button in towards the spine, draw the head down into the lap, and breathe out in cat pose. Breathing in as we move through to cow pose. And breathing out and coming back to cat pose. Breathing in, coming through to cow pose. Breathing out, back to cat pose. One more of each. Pushing all the way through, opening the chest, looking up into cow pose. Breathing in. And breathing out as you curl back down into cat pose. Excellent. And then coming back to a neutral spine. So thinking about that position we started with, a nice straight spine, all the vertebrae stacked on top of each other. From here, we're going to take a gentle side bend. So placing one hand just underneath your chair, stretching the other arm all the way out and up. And first of all, I want you to think about stretching those fingertips all the way up to the sky. And then we're going to start to tip over to one side, stretching all the way down the body, keeping the hips and the shoulders facing forwards so that we're focusing on stretching down the side of the body rather than crouching over the leg and stretching through the back. We're staying focused on the side of the body. And taking a couple of big deep breaths here. And again, every time you breathe in, I want you to think about stretching up. And every time you breathe out, I want you to think about bending over just a little bit further. Very good. And then swapping sides. So bringing that hand down to the other side of your chair and opening the other arm up, stretching all the way up overhead first, and then bending over to the side and using that breath to help. So deep breath in, stretching up. And as you breathe out, bending over just a little bit further. Remembering to keep your bottom planted on the chair, so we're not lifting the bottom cheek or the hip up. We're keeping the legs nice and still. Taking a few deep breaths here as we stretch over to the side. Excellent. And then release. And then we're going to take a big deep breath with both arms reaching up overhead this time. And then as we breathe out, we're going to twist towards one side, bring the opposite hand across the body to the opposite knee, take the back hand just behind you to the back corner of your chair, and then gently pressing against your knee and your chair, we're going to open our chest to the side of the room. So we're just twisting around the spine here, thinking about twisting around the spine so the spine still stays nice and straight and we're just moving around it. And then we're opening the chest to the side of the room. And again, taking some big deep breaths here, breathing in and thinking about sitting up tall, and breathing out and seeing if we can twist a little bit further towards that back shoulder. Very good. And then releasing and coming back to the middle to do the same on the other side. So big deep breath in first, reaching the arms all the way up overhead. Remembering to drop the shoulders down away from the ears. So we've not got the shoulders up here. The shoulders are dropping down away from the ears. Before we twist to the other side this time, bringing the opposite hand across the body to the opposite knee, reaching the back hand behind and just taking hold of the back corner of the chair. And then without pushing your knee out of place, so keeping that knee nice and stable, we're going to gently press against the outside of the knee and the outside of the chair, open the chest to the side of the room, look out towards the side, and take a few deep breaths, sitting up nice and tall as we breathe in, and seeing if we can twist a little bit further towards that back shoulder as we breathe out. Excellent. And then releasing and coming back to the middle. From here, we're going to move to the legs. So first of all, stretching one leg out in front of you, we're going to take some ankle rotations. So you can leave the heel resting on the floor in front of you here, or if you want to, you can elevate the legs slightly and start to take some nice ankle circles with the foot in one direction. So whether you're lifted or you've got the heel on the floor. Either option is absolutely fine. And then change direction. So going the other way around. Very good. And then bringing that foot back to the floor and swapping sides. So stretching the other leg out in front. So this is where being towards the front of the chair is going to be helpful here. If you're sat right at the back of the chair, the front of the chair is going to be in your way here. So just make sure you're sat forwards. Taking those ankle rotations, either with the heel on the floor or with the heel lifted. Couple more in this direction. And then changing direction, so drawing circles in the other direction. Trying to keep those circles as big as possible. You might find one direction is a little bit more tricky than the other. That's definitely normal. Just might take a little bit more focus to go in one direction. Lovely. And then bring that foot back down to the floor. And then returning to the first side, we're going to stretch the foot away, leaving the heel on the floor this time. We're just going to take a gentle stretch over the leg. So taking a big deep breath in, reaching the arms all the way up overhead. And then as you breathe out, we're going to tip forwards from the hip, reach the fingertips up towards the top of the room, diagonally up to the corner where the ceiling and the wall meet, keeping that extended leg stretched all the way out, pointing the toes up towards the ceiling, so I'm keeping the foot flexed. And we're just reaching forwards and over, but keeping the back nice and flat. So if I just turn to the side, you can see that we're just tipping from the hips. So we're keeping the back nice and straight, reaching the fingers up diagonally. And then you should feel a nice stretch along the back of the leg. And then if you can, we can start to round in the back now, bringing the hands down towards that toe and reaching towards the toe with the hands. Rounding in the back now, stretching down towards the foot. If you're reaching towards the thigh or the shin here or the ankle, that's absolutely fine. Wherever you can reach, whatever is a good stretch for you today. Excellent. And then releasing, bringing that foot back up and stretching the other leg out. So making sure those toes are pointing up to the ceiling, taking a big deep breath in, reaching the arms all the way up overhead, breathing out and tipping from the hips, keeping the back nice and flat, reaching the fingertips up on a diagonal and stretching all the way down the back of that leg. Remembering to breathe. It's the same with all of these stretches. As you breathe in, think about reaching up. And as you breathe out, think about coming over that leg a little bit further. Very good. And then we're going to take the hands towards the toe, round in the back, and come a little bit lower towards that extended leg. You're breathing through the stretch. And then releasing and bringing the feet back up to standing. And then we're just going to take a gentle hug of the knee. So lifting one knee up, taking hold of the shin, and then gently drawing the leg up towards the chest and just hugging the knee in towards the chest. Holding that there for a couple of breaths. And then if you're able to, we're going to carefully take the leg and bring that foot on top of the thigh of the standing leg, making sure that your foot is flexed, so your toes are pointing forwards. That's just going to help protect our knee joint. And we're going to take a gentle hip opener stretch here. So with the leg lifted and the foot resting on top of the other thigh, we're going to gently take a deep breath in, reaching the hands up overhead, and then breathing out and tipping forwards in the hips. So the same stretch, the same idea as we did with the extended leg. We're tipping forward in the hips and we're reaching the fingertips forwards on the diagonal. thinking about opening through the hip, dropping this knee down and out, letting gravity help here to bring the knee down. Depending on your flexibility in the hips here, you may find that your knee is quite high. That's absolutely fine. We all have different levels of flexibility. Just work with where you are today and see if you can use that breath just to help relax that hip a little bit further. Just a millimetre or two is progress. Excellent. And then again, we're going to bring the hands down onto the top of the shin that's resting on top, and then round in the back and bring the forehead down towards that top leg. Breathing in and out, nice and slow, deep breaths as we stretch down towards that top leg. And then sitting back up, releasing that top leg and bringing it back down to the floor and swapping to the other side. So starting off by picking up that leg, holding onto the shin. So just make sure here that you're not pulling on the knee, that you're reaching a little bit lower and pulling from the shin. And we're just going to draw that knee in towards the chest. Make sure that we're sitting up nice and tall as we do this. So we're not rocking backwards. We're sitting up tall and drawing that knee in towards the chest. And then from here, we're going to take hold of the leg and place it on top of the underneath thigh, making sure that foot is flexed, the toes are pointing forwards, the knees pointing out towards the side. And then taking a big deep breath in, reaching the arms all the way up overhead, and breathing out and reaching up and forwards over that leg. And as you breathe in this pose, really think about dropping that knee out towards the side. Focus on sending your out breath into the hip, relaxing through the hip joints. Very good. And then bringing the hands down on top of the top leg and curving in the back, bringing the forehead down towards that top leg. Breathing in and sinking down as we breathe out. Very good. And then releasing that top leg and coming back to the floor. And then from here, hopefully we're feeling a little bit warmer now. We're going to start a very simple little sequence. We will be turning on our chairs partway through, but I'll go through it nice and slowly so that we can all get a good idea of what we're doing. So from here, with our feet planted on the floor, hip distance apart, knees over the ankles, we're going to start with a big deep breath in, reaching the arms all the way up overhead. Dropping the shoulders down away from the ears and looking up towards the fingertips. Then as we breathe out, we're going to bring the arms open, reach our fingertips towards the floor and round in the back, and bring the forehead down towards the floor, reaching the fingertips down towards the feet in a full forward fold. And then with the next in-breath, placing the hands on the thighs, we're going to come halfway up, sending our the top of our heads on a diagonal line to the top opposite corner of the room. And then breathing out and coming all the way back down to a full fold. And then with your next in-breath, we're going to sweep the arms all the way up and overhead again. Then breathe out and bring the hands down the middle at the chest. From here, we're going to move to a warrior two position. So for this, I want you to turn your legs to the side and shuffle your bottom so you've got one bottom cheek off the chair. From here, you can open the front leg out to the side. So you can either stay here with your legs at 90 degrees, or if you're feeling confident today, you can take that front leg and slide it back and come into the warrior two position. So the back leg should have the top of the thigh resting on the chair and the bottom cheek, and the front leg should be released so that you can press it all the way backwards keeping the back toes parallel. The front toes are pointing out to the side. And then we're going to open the hips and the chest to the front and take the arms out to the side nice and wide in our warrior two. So just check and make sure your knee is over your ankle and that you can see your big toe, so you're not rolling your knee in. This is our warrior two position. If you are wanting a little bit more of a challenge today, you can try lifting off the chair. So planting your feet on the floor, pressing through the soles of the feet, drawing the belly button in towards the spine. You can lift off the chair. Or staying on the chair, either with the leg extended or the leg at 90 degrees. Okay. And then from here, wherever you are, we're going to take an extended side angle. So bringing the front arm down onto the front knee and reaching the top arm over. Trying to create a nice straight line from the top of the fingertips down to that foot, the back of the ankle of the foot on the floor. And then we're going to sweep back in the other direction, reaching the hand all the way down that extended leg, and the other arm reaching up towards the sky, looking up at the fingertips. Very good. And then coming back to warrior two, closing the extended leg, and then twisting ourselves back to face the front. We're going to do that all again on the other side. So starting with a big deep breath in, reaching the arms all the way up overhead. Breathing out, sweeping the arms open, bringing the chest down towards the thighs, dropping the forehead down towards the floor in a full fold. And with the next in-breath, we're going to come up halfway. And breathing out and folding all the way back down again. And then with the next in-breath, sweeping the arms all the way up overhead. And then breathing out and bringing the hands down the middle. And now we're going to turn to the other side so that we can release the other leg. So turning onto the side, shuffling on the chair so that the front leg has the thigh and the bottom off the chair, so that they have space to either open to the side and come into warrior two here, or take that leg out into a warrior two position, opening the hips and the chest to the front. And if you want to, pressing through the feet, drawing the belly button in towards the spine and lifting off the chair. Or staying here and focusing on opening that chest and pressing through the feet. And then from here, we're going to come over the bent thigh, placing a hand or an elbow on the thigh and bringing the free arm up overhead, stretching the fingertips up, creating a nice straight line all the way from the fingertips to the foot, breathing in and out. And then changing so that that arm is now reaching down the extended leg, and the top arm is reaching all the way up to the sky, looking up towards the fingertips. So if you've got the leg at 90 degrees here, you can use the chair, reaching back to hold onto the bottom of the chair and lifting the other arm up nice and high. And then coming back to warrior two, closing the legs, and then turning back towards the front. Very nice. And then from here, we're just going to take some gentle core exercises. So moving back just a little bit on your chair, we're going to start with something called a pendulum. You can do this with both legs or one leg at a time. So depending on how strong you're feeling in the core, if you want to take it a little bit easier today, just lift one leg at a time. If you want a bit of a challenge, you can try picking both legs up. So let's go through one leg at a time to begin with. So lifting one leg and keeping the foot flexed, so that knee's slightly lifted and you're just lifting the foot off the floor a little bit. We're going to focus on drawing the belly button in towards the spine, sitting up nice and tall, and you can hold onto the chair here for a bit of support. And we're just going to swing that leg from the knee like a pendulum. So lifting that leg off the floor just means that we have to engage those core muscles a little bit to help hold that leg off the floor. And the added movement of the pendulum just adds a little bit of instability, which means that our core has to work a little bit harder to keep us stable. And as you're focusing on drawing that belly button in towards the spine, remember to breathe through the exercise. Okay, and then releasing that foot back down to the floor and swapping over. So drawing the belly button in towards the spine, lifting the other leg off the floor just a bit, and then from the knee, swinging the leg like a pendulum from side to side. Very good. Breathing through the movement. We're not holding our breath. And then if you want to, you can try both legs. So drawing the belly button in, lifting both legs and swinging them, trying to keep the body as still as possible. So we're not rocking with the legs. We're not having to use our core if we do that. So we're trying to keep the body nice and still. And we're just moving the legs. Again, if you want to do this just one leg at a time, that's absolutely fine. Excellent. And then bring those feet back to the floor. We're just going to take one more stretch just to release in the legs and the core. So taking a big deep breath all the way in, reaching the arms up overhead. And then breathing out and folding down, bringing the chest towards the thighs, reaching the fingertips towards the floor, rolling over. And then very gently, we're going to start to uncurl through the spine this time, stacking one vertebrae on top of the other, from the bottom of the back to the middle of the back, top of the back, shoulders, and then stacking the head on top of the body. And then from here, we're going to move into a bit of mindfulness and relaxation. So at this point, just shuffle yourself a bit further back onto the chair so that you can relax and start to relax back into the chair. So finding a nice comfortable position, we're going to start just working our way up the body to relax all of those muscles we've been working hard. So starting with the feet, we're going to curl the toes in, scrunching the toes nice and tight, squeeze, 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 and then relax. And then I want you to think about hugging the muscles in your legs tight to the bones. So squeezing the leg muscles all the way up, so the calf muscles, the thigh muscles, squeezing, 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 and then relax. And then we're going to move to the hands. Curling the hands into fists, squeezing tight, squeeze, 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 and then relax. And then moving to the arms and thinking about squeezing the muscles of the arms tight to the bones. Squeeze, 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 and relax. And then lastly, thinking about the face, pressing the lips together, squeezing the eyes shut, scrunching the nose, squeeze, 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 and relax. And thinking about sending any last bits of tension in the body down through the body into the floor and away. And then before we completely relax, we're just going to think one more time about our breathing. So placing our hands on our tummies, we're going to take 3 deep belly breaths. So like the 3 breaths we took at the beginning, we're going to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth, nice and slow and controlled. But this time, we're going to use our tummies to help us take really deep breaths. So as you breathe in, I want you to think about pushing your tummy out into your hands. And that just allows for us to create as much space as possible for the lungs to expand into. And then as you breathe out, we're going to pull that tummy back in towards the spine. Feel those hands drawing in towards the body. And just help to breathe out every last bit of used air. So let's do that all together 3 times. So starting, breathing in through the nose, nice and slow, deep breath, in, pushing the tummies out into the hands, pushing the tummy all the way out, breathing in all the way to the bottom of the lungs. And then breathing out and letting that tummy sink back down, drawing it in towards the spine, feeling those hands coming in towards the body, breathing out. And again, a nice big deep breath in through the nose, pushing the tummies out into the hands, breathing in. And then breathing out, pushing the tummy back in, drawing those hands in towards the spine, breathing out. Last time, breathing in through the nose, nice and deep. See if you can breathe in just a second or 2 longer than you did the last time. And the same with the out breath. See if you can draw that out breath out just a little bit longer. So breathing out, bringing the tummy back in towards the spine. Breathing out, all the way. Excellent. And then just relaxing that breath and finding a nice, comfortable rhythm. Releasing the hands and finding somewhere for them to rest, whether that's in your laps or by your side, wherever's comfortable for you. And then if you do have any warm layers or anything like that to hand that you want to wrap around you, just for the last 5 minutes while we sit here, you don't want you getting cold, you can wrap anything you need around you here. And then we're going to just start to think about our bodies feeling really heavy. So I want you to just pay attention to the sensation in the soles of your feet, pressing down into the ground. The feeling on the back of your thighs, pressing into the chair. Your back resting on the back of the chair. Your hands sinking down into your laps. And your body starting to relax and feel really heavy. And just allowing that breath to move nice and easily in and out. And just taking a moment to focus on the breath. I just want you to pay attention to how that feels in the body. To the sensation of the chest rising and falling. The feeling of the air passing in and out. The sound of your breath. And notice whether you can use that breath to help you relax just a little bit more with every out breath. And then thinking about the breath, I want you to imagine, so if you can close your eyes if you haven't already, I want you to imagine in front of you is a bubble, and you're going to use your breath to slowly blow the bubble away. So every time you breathe out, I want you to imagine that bubble floating a little bit further away from you. And as it gets further away, it gets smaller and smaller until it disappears from sight. And if you find that you have any thoughts or feelings popping into your head and distracting you, then I want you to see if you can calm the brain by bringing your attention back to the breath, in and out. And then imagine that thought or that feeling is the bubble in front of you. And you're gently going to start blowing that bubble, that thought or that feeling away from you. Every out breath moves it a little bit further away. We're not ignoring that thought or feeling, but we're just giving ourselves a bit of space away from the busyness of our minds to have a moment of calm. And again, if you notice another thought popping into your head, imagine that is the thought is the bubble in front of you, and you're going to use your breath to gently blow that bubble away. And then we're just going to spend a moment relaxing here, enjoying the stillness in our bodies and the calm in our minds. So just taking a moment to relax and breathe. And then just bringing our attention back to our bodies, starting to wake our bodies up again, giving our toes a wiggle and our fingers a wiggle. And then slowly sitting back up, bringing the back off the back of the chair. We're just going to finish with one last big deep breath in, reaching the arms all the way up overhead, looking up towards the fingertips, dropping the shoulders down away from the ears, and then drawing the hands down the middle towards the chest as you breathe out. Thank you very much for joining me today, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the session. And that's it from me today. And hopefully I will see some of you again if I cover